Hello and welcome to our Planet Coaster Harder Challenge Mode series. And yes, as you can hear, I am under the weather currently. Now the live portion, I recorded that right before I got sick, so I will sound pretty normal there. But for this portion, I am dealing with a cold, so I do apologize for that, but nonetheless, this is our series, if you haven't watched before, where we play the harder challenge mode, and we see how detailed we can create a theme park without going bankrupt. We did have some rules to make it even a little bit more challenging for us, so they will pop up here on the screen as well. Anyway, what we are doing here is we are finishing off this little back corner by the side gate for in the Matford airfield, and we make some pretty substantial changes. There are the rules that I promised. I also forgot that for whatever reason, when I was doing the live portion, my sound deafening or whatever you want to call that to take the background noise cancellation, that was not turned on, so you are going to hear my bird in the background. You'll hear my phone go off a few times, so I apologize for that in advance, but nonetheless, the episode's still good, so I didn't think it was worth re-recording. So but anyway, we are making some changes here to the airport terminal, just to kind of round off this edge so that I could make the polarity or baggage claim go right up against the building all the way around, which I think just looks a lot better. It looks a lot cleaner. We get rid of this little water thing, whatever I was trying here, that didn't really pan out too well. And then I really wanted the pathway to go underneath here, and I wanted to keep those pillars or the supports for polarity, which I eventually do figure out how to get them to stay around. We do a lot of messing around with the paths at this point, and I left it all in here just so you can kind of see. Now that little area that I just did there that kind of loops out around, that's going to be for a balloon to sit. So I thought that would be something really interesting to have there, but you can slowly start to see, we are starting to figure out, okay, well, there we go. We can keep all of those paths there, and somehow that one stayed in there, but this looks a lot uglier right now, but I promise you we will clean all of that up as well. So everything starting to fit in here pretty nicely. You can see we're messing around, adding another balloon in here. This balloon would be something that's just stationary, not one for actual balloon rides or anything like that. So not like the other one that's over towards the entrance a little bit more. I did struggle with the colors for this attraction quite a bit. I changed them a lot. I've changed them off camera a lot as well. And I do finally settle on something. I didn't want to just keep going with the blue and orange like I had been. So, although I do think it does have both blue and orange in, but nonetheless, once we get all that sorted out for now, we go and figure out how are we going to work the polarity into this area. And I figure, well, the best thing to do is to just make a wall, because you're not going to want to be standing right next to that coaster as it flies by. Although there is some pretty good separation, but that would, I imagine, would be pretty loud with the polarity over top. So we go ahead, we add some walls in here, and you're going to have to give me a second here to go for my beverage. Just some good old water today, nothing too fancy, but we do some interesting brickwork on these concrete walls, which I think is pretty nice. It is a double layered wall, so it's a little thicker than most, but I did want to have a little bit of lighting here. I thought the fiberglass lights were a little bit too much, so we go with the little fiberglass light and a firehouse flood light. And then I do actually switch. I forgot about this. I switched and put in archways just to kind of give the wall a little bit of definition, variation. I think it kind of looks nice. And then we are going to duplicate this all the way down, right into the side there. And, you know, this actually looks a whole lot better than what I thought it was going to. The back side of the wall, not going to be too much. It's just going to be a pretty blank wall just because it's facing the coaster. So we just go ahead and kind of finish up just getting the rest of the walls all the way over here. And I do change the color of the concrete here in the back to match the rest of the airport there. So we get all that lined up. You can see we are actually changing the brick color as well. I think at some point here it does take a bit because I had to I had to click on every single one. There's multiple buildings now, so that was annoying that I only caught that afterwards. And the same thing with the concrete walls. But now up on top, to try and kind of finish off the polarity, we needed to get some type of fencing here. So on the coaster side, I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. So we do add some concrete walls up here. We just use some art shapes with little square lights on top, and then some little fencing, which I think is pretty nice. And then we duplicate that a couple times just to see how that's going to look. I like that. And then we go in, we do add a little bit extra to the bottom there, which is just a little concrete thing just to make it a little bit easier on me in the future, which you'll see how that impacts us. But on the other side, I want it to be a little bit different. I want it to be a little lighter, just some fencing, no concrete base to it, aside from like the footer, if you will. And then I want it to have some round edges because there's not going to be any lights on these. So we go ahead, we set those up. We get that all set up with the correct colors and whatnot for what we have. And then we duplicate that all the way down. And then we forget about it for a while. So we do finish off the little turn here at the end, which was a little bit annoying, but it does get all sorted out here shortly. So this fencing, I'm glad I don't have to do any more of it because, like I said, it is a lot to do on this this side. And for whatever reason, I use the what are those? The art shape pieces for the corners there, but on the other side, I don't do that. So, and I didn't even notice that until now. So, next thing we're going to work on is this little connector building between the side gate and the wall. It's going to be partially under the polarity, and I wanted there to be some drink stands here, and you can see I was really struggling with the pathing here, and eventually I do figure out something that I like here before we start actually building onto the wall here. But you can see just this kind of cuts in to the entrance a little bit, and you know, since it is the restroom, I'm not super concerned with it going into the restroom itself, but I didn't want it to look too crazy on the outside at the side entrance there. So we go ahead, we get it kind of walled off here, kind of figure out, all right, well this should work now. No, not with the paths. We finally get in our little oh man, I really struggled, but we do get it to work. And then we try and stay with the same theme for the wall itself, but I did need to make it a little bit different in terms of the roofing for it, and it is not my favorite roof, but honestly, it works. It works. I'm happy with the way it turned out. You know, there's only so much you can do in Planet Coaster, so Once we get everything aligned here where we need to, you're going to see we use the arch shape roof pattern, um, and I think it works out pretty good. So we do add some little definitions here to but like behind on the base around the building, just to kind of wrap up the building a little bit. We add some lights because I tend to earn lights. Some glass sections, I do like to have that in the bathroom buildings. Now you can see I saw that the colors for the walls were a little off here, so we obviously have to adjust that here before we forget again. So we go ahead and we get that all squared away, and yeah, now you can see we go for the arch shapes, and I make it very thick. And the reason I do that, just because it just covers up a lot of the imperfections here, and we add a less thick front part as I take a sip of my beverage. Right above the glass, or right below the glass, I'm sorry, and you can see in the inside, you could see the polarity attractions sticking through with some of the lights coming down, so I thought that looked kind of nice, so I was like, you know what, we'll just keep that in there. I think that's believable enough that you could go with that. And of course we add the restroom sign. We add an actual in-game restroom sign on the inside, and then we put the font text out here for restrooms on the outside. And you know, I think that all kind of looks pretty nice. We add some little trim work to the top, and there you can really see the inside, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then the little lower part there, we do add the trim work there as well. Oh man, and I can feel a cough coming, so if you hear me shuffle around a little bit, it's me trying to mute my mic here before the cough comes. But we get some flooring in there. I do not want this to be the main flooring for this little side gate entrance, so it is going to be separated. We're going to get some planters in here where those guests aren't going to walk anyway. And then obviously the restrooms would be close to the entrance. I don't think they would be this close, but you never know. And then I think just adding some trees in that planter just kind of make it separated enough to make it believable here. So and it's not very tall trees either, so I think that's fine. We did add the A-frame sign there. We added one on one side, one on the other side. So yeah, everything looking good. I found some little imperfections around the park here, so I go ahead and adjust those with these planners here quick. And then we get into the fun part of doing the Aeronauts attraction. And this one challenged me quite a bit. So I wanted to have some type of natural seating up against this ride. So we use the planners. You can see we just kind of sink the benches in there. The color of the benches don't matter because you're never going to see them. And you know, it all just kind of fits. It worked a lot better than I thought it was going to. We got everything to line up right. And the only part that I was struggling with now was that little corner piece there. Because I didn't want to have path covers all the way through here. That's just an unnecessary huge piece part. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. That just I didn't want to have to deal with. So we go ahead. We do add in these little like corner pieces. We do leave a little bit of the grass there. We just color it in with the pavement, and I think that looks fine. And I think we even add a light. Yes, there it is, with some trash cans to make it blend in even more. We changed some of the colors to match some of the other planners in the area here, and then we try and get creative with what's going to look good in around this the balloon here. So you can see I'm trying a couple different things. We are within a pixel there of what's going to be showing, so we try a couple different things, and then obviously we reroute the path to make it kind of fit in the planners here, and we add in a nice little platform for the balloon to sit on. We do add some flowers in the balloon, so I think that was a nice little touch there. But taking a quick sip of the beverage. The one thing I didn't like was those little pieces, or like the little breaks in between those corner pieces. But I think a tree or a light post did pretty well for us there. We kind of try and plan out where we're going to put some trees in here, and what kind of trees, because I did want them to be a little bit taller in that area, just to kind of, because they're going to be few and far between, so it would just kind of break up the area a little bit. And then trying to figure out what we're doing for this area, because this area was just such a cluster. It's such a weird little area that just had nothing in it, and I could not figure out how to get this in here. Once we get that piece in, I was like, well, what can I do with the rest of this? As I'm making this path, I'm like, there's got to be something that we can utilize. Like, that's just bricks there. Like, people would be climbing all over it. Like, what would be something that we could do that would make sense in an area like that? It's just unused space. And then it hit me. I was like, we can have this attraction sponsored by one of the in-game shops, because it's balloons. So it's gonna be the Blooon Flight. And I was like, that's the idea. So we stick with it. We go ahead, we finish off the planners, because I liked where those were going. We were gonna have to do it at some point anyway, so we finish that off, and now we go into actually creating the fencing for the balloon ride here. And you can see we started with a couple different options. We tried a couple different things here. I had an idea of what I wanted to try, but I wasn't sure how I was going to make it work. Obviously, with it being like a kid's ride, you want it to be fun, something to look good, clean, and something that people are going to want to ride. So we get these nice little pillars out here. We connect them with the white wooden beams. I think these are wooden beams, just to kind of cover up the curb there. We switch out the pillars again, so for bigger pillars and whatnot. And then I found these little fences. I didn't like those. Don't like the picket ones quite as much. And then we found this one. And this one, I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. I can make this look like painted wood, which is what it is. So we get that in there. And also, I just noticed that it doesn't look like my noise canceling software is getting my pet parrot out on this one either. So I'm going to make some changes to that. So you may see some updates here as we go through the time lapse. But yeah, so we go ahead. For whatever reason, I did keep those white for now. I think I do change that here in the future. I did want to go with some of that brick look to kind of keep it similar to what I have on the wall in the back under polarity, but we go ahead, we get a nice red top railing there, and actually I think I do keep it white. We get some little icing pieces in here, and then some lights that will go around the outside and the inside here as well. which will make it nice and fun for the guests. And then something just for the top of this, we just add some different art pieces, and I think those look quite nice. And then with the square light again, just to add a little bit of extra light to the area. So yeah, we start to duplicate this around just to check. We have to make some minor changes here, I believe, at some point. Or I just kind of leave it at that. And no, yeah, so we do make some minor changes to the icing pieces, and then we duplicate it all over again. We get everything set where I want it, and then we just have to make some modifications to get it to look exactly the way and to be functional. So that's obviously a big part of it as well. So we do move the entrance a little bit. That changes the way that ramp works a little, but that's not too bad because we haven't themed any of that yet, so we can always adjust that. We go ahead and we finish up some of the curbing on the outside here. I think we might be changing the color here for something, for the bricks maybe, and then trying to figure out what we are going to do with this ramp. This ramp was another challenge here, but honestly it didn't take too much. These fences and everything seem to work out really nice for us. So we get those all lined up and put in, and now it's just trying to figure out the curb on this side here. And leaving the trees in, that was probably not my best decision, but you know, it all is fine. We add in, of course, some little concrete base here. We take a sip of our beverage. A lot of sips of beverage today. Voice is not working at 100%, so apologize for all those, but I am staying hydrated, so that's good. It's something that is going to keep me hydrated with water, so that's also good. But we use those little red pieces just to kind of cover up those curbs again. We have to duplicate them a little bit because of how that weird curve is in that ramp. Yeah, now working on the area around the balloon. I really thought that, you know, maybe we should put some planters in there, but I was like, no, let's just put some little planters here. And then, oh, you can see I still haven't fully made the decision to sponsor this ride with Looney Balloons, so we're now just adding in some planters in between the supports for polarity to keep everything separated, and I think this turned out really nicely. And this last little piece here, well, what do we do with that? Well, we'll come back to that. So trying to figure out again, this is just such a weird little area, and how are we going to do it? I knew I needed to get the fences in before I start putting floor coverings down, because this area is pretty much all queues are going to have some type of floor covering, unless it's just a path going through. And there goes my phone again, so I apologize if you hear that coming through. I apologize. Yeah, so we just go ahead, we add in some little standard in-game lights, nothing too crazy here, as opposed to like I add in not in-game lights. That's a weird statement for me to make. I did use some TMTK items later in this episode, but I do not try to do that very often. So you can see we are getting in our concrete path covers here. Again, it does just make it look cleaner. These are just the firehouse roofs. Nothing outrageous there. So we get a couple little planters in just to kind of fill in some of the gaps, and then we add a little curb on the end for these in the back here with a little fence, and we just make that some dirt and add some bushes in here just to fill the area. So that all starts to look good. We add in different colored flowers, which these, I can't remember the name of these flowers, but I thought they would work right with the balloons. They kind of look like little balloons, so we go ahead and we keep those and we add those all over the place, and then just adding different types of bushes and flowers and plants all over the area here before we add in a couple taller trees. Yeah, it all just tends to make the area come to life here a little bit. There goes one of our taller trees. We get some smaller trees around the front because we don't want to block off the viewing for it too much, and you know, duplicating some of the planter trees and whatnot. And then of course adding in some benches to kind of block off the area. Just kind of makes that. Do a quick pass with the lighting. I found out that I don't really need the lighting on the Matford Airfield sign, so there is that. And now we completely get off track here, and we go and change the aerobatics ride name to Hercules officially. So thank you. I think it was Nocturo 1, sorry, getting a little confused there, but love the Hercules name. We get that added in here. I did do some searching on what type of plane the Hercules was, so we just add in an extra propeller here, and that propeller isn't going to rotate because it's in the ground there a little bit. So that I think is looking really nice. We do add some lights to shine up into the trees, which I always thought was a really interesting touch of detail, because it just it changes your focus on what you're looking at in that area. So I like doing that. And here we go, finally adding in the Looney Balloon sign. And honestly, I didn't even see that those beams really come out from the side there. So we get the presented by Looney Balloons in there, and then of course we are going to call this the Blooon Flight, which this didn't quite work as well as I was hoping it would. But a quick sip of the beverage, and we go ahead, we do a whole bunch of different letters around here, which we are going to duplicate those and put those in. The balloon was extremely annoying to deal with here, so fortunately it started taking off when I think I either edited it or maybe I just moved it completely out of the way, but it was just annoying the way it was working. So we did one Blooon Flight on both the sides, so even though the one side is kind of facing nothing, but we go ahead and we get all that in there. Not sure what happened there, but everything's still going, so we're good. Alright, so sorry about that. I did have a little bit of a cough, so sorry if you heard me moving my mic around. I did get it. I think I got it to mute beforehand. So we get the Blooon Flight in there, and then of course I needed to change out the gift shop that's on the other side. We wanted to make that a Looney Balloons. And I wanted us to just have an awning. I didn't want this a hard covered building. So, and I didn't want to use too much TMTK items, but I knew I was going to use some because it is a shop, and we just don't have small pieces for the shops. So we go ahead and we get some of those pieces in here. We do extend out the actual roof a little bit, just to kind of make it a little bit more believable in terms of how this would work. And you know, I think this actually turns out really, really nice. We use some of the racing poles as our poles for the end of the awning here. Now this would be like a permanent awning, so it's not gonna be something that retracts or anything like that. We do use a little bit of TMTK items for some poles connecting up along the sides, so I thought that would look better than the actual racing poles. We get another big Looney Bloon sign in on there, and then we do some minor decorating on the inside here. Now this is primarily on the outside, so we needed to add some things here. Obviously I wanted to get some balloons in here since this is Looney Bloons. So we add a couple of those in here, and then I was debating if I wanted to call it actually Looney Bloons or if I wanted to use like a gift shop name from an airport. So we do change that. We call it Gifts to Go, which I thought made a lot of sense, because if you're getting a gift here, you are probably on your way out of the park. I don't know why I said out of your park. We changed the colors a little bit. Not sure about the orange, the mostly average matte orange, but we do get in some TMTK postcards and things like that, which I imagine this would be a lot of what they have. We get some Coca-Cola, some Fanta, Gulpy bins in there, just because you probably see a couple of those in here as well. And then now it's just trying to cover in the area here. Now this will have a concrete pad itself, so I knew we had a little bit to play with in terms of how we wanted to do the covered area. We do add a little Looney Bloon sign. We add a little storage entrance on the side, and then of course we put the Planet Coaster sign in the back of the claw game, which if you sync it up, if you like move it up forward, it'll actually come through a little bit, and it actually looks like a really cool backdrop. So we kept that in there, and then just adding some minor details here and there around the sides. And then maybe the hardest part was this side, going over to the little Blooon Flight area, which I wasn't sure what I wanted to do here, and you know, just adding that one little planter piece I think just kind of sealed the deal for me, so I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So go ahead and we get some more of those little flowers in, and then of course we get some of the concrete pad in here. We overextend it intentionally so we can go ahead and rotate some pieces here, get those in, and obviously sink them back in to make it look a little bit more feasible. Get those lined up, and yeah, there we go. We got the Gifts to Go area all set up, and now it's just the part of making this little balloon building here, which I really had no idea what I wanted to do. So of course we have to keep with the theme of everything else and have that little beam in the inside here. I did not want this to be a super detailed build, so we just add in some posters, get the roof in here, get little trims around the side, stick with the theme that we have underneath at the Looney Bloons shop at Gifts to Go, and then of course we have to add in a sign here for the hot air balloons. So we just call it balloon rides. because the hot air wasn't going to fit anywhere else. So, and I really don't like the eye in this font, but it's fine. And sorry if you heard my water bottle crack there a little bit as we take another sip of our beverage. We go ahead, we add in some fake people just to get a little bit more realism in here. I was going to add one that was sitting, but you know, we didn't do that, so I think we just add another one that's standing up. I think we leave the colors on the one just so it's a little different. Alright, so we get in a door here, and you may notice that it may sound slightly different than what I did just previously, and that is because I went on a huge coughing spell and decided to just stop recording. So I picked it up the following day, so here we are, just adding in some lighting. And you know, just kind of finishing off some of the rock curb there, and a couple taller trees to just kind of break off that area a little bit. Couldn't quite get that area in there, so we just kind of paint it with some tarmac, and yeah, I think it looks good now. Just into adding in some extra benches and tidying up the sign here again. And this is not thrilled with the way this sign looks, but you know, I think it does the job. And, you know, we get some benches around it, and I think we'll forget about it as we move on. So now for the last part, I was really putting this off because I really did not want to do it at all. But you can see we are putting the fencing, and it really just needed to happen. We don't do the wall underneath. I did not think that was necessary since it is a natural barrier underneath there with all the bushes and whatnot. So, but you can see we're leaving quite a few gaps all the way around the outside that we are going to have to go back and tidy up. So we do that here eventually, and that takes quite a bit of time. So I knew this was going to be a pain. I knew this last little turn was going to be a pain, so we just deal with that and move on, and it is what it is. So but like I said before, when we were doing the other curve at the other end of the polarity, for whatever reason here, I just say I'm gonna modify the walls a little bit, rather than just using the light and the blue posts and whatnot. So we do go ahead and just we cover in that last little piece of the polarity platform there, because you know, we don't want any of that sticking through, and I didn't think I was going to get that fully around there. So we get everything kind of looking in here pretty good here. It is just some tedious work to get everything organized. Eventually I do get a pretty decent pattern or system going to get everything updated. There are a lot of different buildings in this piece, and also for whatever reason I didn't copy the lower piece of the blue pole, so I have to duplicate those and drag those down, but it should go fairly quickly here. Yeah, we're already moving on to the bigger piece here, and I go from the other side here. You can see I was a little bit off with the long straightaway there, so we had to readjust a little bit of that, but that wasn't too bad. And then here you can see we're really starting to move along here. So I am very happy with the way this has turned out. Still not a huge fan of the balloon area here that's in the background of what we're looking at right now, but generally speaking, like I said, I did want to leave some expansion area here so we can try and get to move on to other areas of the park, so we're not just focusing on the airfield and whatnot. But we do still have to finish off the terminal, which is going to be a big task, as well as the Sky Ace attraction. So those are coming up here, and then hopefully we'll be able to move on to something different. And yeah, we are now quickly heading into the end of this time lapse. So I'm going to go ahead. I will let you see the last final bits and pieces here, and we'll see you in the live portion. Welcome to the live portion of today's video, and we definitely have some management stuff that we have to go over, but before we get too far, let's jump into what we did. You can see I wouldn't say necessarily themed, but we decorated our Aeronauts balloon ride, which is going to be called Blooon Flight. I kind of wish I could attach this to the balloon because the balloon's moving a little bit, but I can't, so we're going to have to deal with it. And I thought it'd be fun to say that it is presented by Looney Balloons, which comes to our next thing, the gifts to go, which of course is going to sell balloons. And then we have a little claw game here, which is going to be nice. And of course we located our Matford Airfield sign, and we redid this sign, so we have the Hercules sign now, so that it can officially be called Hercules, which is nice. We got a little restroom just outside the sign entrance, or inside the sign entrance here, with some drinks, and of course we also did a little balloon ride stall here for the air balloon, which is currently up, which is really not going to get much use. And then probably the thing that took the most time is we created the wall that goes underneath the polarity as well as the fencing, so this is now completed. This area was I really didn't want to do it, but I knew if I didn't, I was going to be annoyed with myself. So we got that taken care of, and yeah, we can go ahead and start getting some things open here. So let's zoom back out a little bit. Let's get our HUD up. Ooh, not that HUD. And pull up our park management. So everything's still looking really good here. Propeller Smoothies is our most profitable shop, and you know, people are just pretty happy with everything. Everything's been pretty stagnant in terms of park rating and whatnot. Ticket prices. We've had some issues with some pickpockets, so we might start to hire a few more security guards to try and combat that. And I think in one of these closer upcoming videos, we will go ahead and start adding in some video cameras as well. Finances, pretty good, to be honest. We are slowly reducing our shop and facility cost, and our rides and tickets are still averaging about probably about 9,000. Sometimes they'll go a little high here. So those are looking good. Our small attractions are generally making some money. Priority Pass is starting to generate. Still not enough to actually make money, but you know, it's something eating into that cost. Our shops and stalls, like I said, the shop sales are looking pretty good at the moment. Facilities, obviously we have a ton of those. Our hotel is now making some good money, so the changes that we made in the last episode are good. We'll have to take a look, see if we can increase or decrease whatever we need to do there. Park management, we know that's going to be a negative value. Scenery running costs, that's really not hurting us as much as I thought it would, so that's pretty good. No research, no marketing, our staff. So of course, if
you are interested in working for the park, please let me know and I will get you hired in at the position that you want. So you can see our 3 entertainers, they are all watchers of the series. We have Daniel Pospichal, Kay Dancer, Alfie, and all doing great work here and being awesome for us. Our janitors doing relatively well here. Nothing too crazy. I don't think there's any need to increase any of them. We haven't had any issues with litter, so that is good. Our vendors, this is where we're going to have some work, because obviously we put it in a new shop here. So, and that one I kind of expect to be a little busier, but it's also going to mean that we have to review what our work rosters are going to look like. So we'll have to take a look at that here in a second, but we'll go through our mechanics here quick. Nothing too crazy here. I'm happy with Arch doing some great work. Our security team doing great. Johnny Strong. We are going to go ahead and throw you up to 100. And then I think we are going to hire 2 new security guards. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them, one we're going to throw into our main entrance in this area, and then the other into the Matford airfield, because they are the busier areas of the park at the moment. And, I just think we're going to need that. So, let's go ahead. We will welcome Mary Skinner to the team. Make sure she is in the proper wardrobe here. And Lenny Witt can be welcomed to the team here. So there we go. Perfect. Get them in here. I do think we need to get them up to 90, and then that we'll train them up as we go. We'll get Matford Airfield in the main front of park, I think, is what I want. So there we go. Alright, so now let's take a look at our work rosters. Nothing changes in Steel Eagle Courtyard. The main entrance, what do we got here? Yeah, so that's all just on the outside and the parking lot. So that's fine. The front of park is this whole area here, so that is fine. Matford Airfield is getting large, and that is perfectly fine here. We are just gonna go right ahead. I don't know if I want to do that though. Yeah, I think it's fine. It's close enough that I think we can manage with just having this one here. It does need to get that. I'll try and get some of this stuff in here, just so the janitors and whatnot cover all of this area. So that should be fine then. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, and then I think I'm going to add 2 additional vendors here to this area, because they're going to be needed. And actually, let's pause these guys because I don't remember what our wardrobe situation is like. So let's go ahead. We'll do by training level all the way at the bottom here. Where's he at? Oh, resting in staff building. I'm not concerned about that. Okay, so Fern, Woodson, you seem to have the right colors here. So, Diane Stanton, welcome to the team. don't think I selected the right one there. Great, there we go. Okay. Diane Stanton, you are going to be in Matford Airfield. Franklin Booker, you are also going to be in Matford Airfield, so that should be good. We'll get both of them. Whoa, not 960. There we go. And that should be pretty good there. And honestly, taking a look here at the rest of what we have, some low workload here, which again, she's resting. Everything else is normal. There is the high, but where's at the front? Oh, and yeah, so I'm not going to worry about that one. We do, and he's resting low. He can't do anymore, so that's fine. Okay, so I think that's good for now. Now, we do need to get our shops and open, but before we do that, let's take a look at our guests. And everyone's looking pretty good. We are getting more family groups in, which is fine because we're going to have a new family attraction in. They also spend the most money, and generally speaking, everyone is pretty happy here. Priority passes for stocking queue. Yep. Don't have enough money. That's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's get into our attractions. So, Empyrean and now Hercules. We can completely remove this. So these are aging. We're going to let them go a little bit here before we potentially refurbish them. We may let one of them go, but actually no, we'll probably just we'll just refurbish all of them. Aeronauts is now Blooon, extra N, or extra O, and we will not make, we will not put the presented by in there. Baggage carousel, that is testing. You can open. Okay, there we go. So that, nothing changing with that. That was just closed due to the some of the work that I was doing and trying to get everything reorganized with this whole thing here. So that's a big change for what we have. Alright, and let's see. We gotta get back to Blooon Flight. I definitely want to change this, so we'll have spin. We'll do spin fast. Then we'll do spin tilt, spin fast. Maybe what we do, we'll do it this way. So we'll do spin, tilt, then we'll do spin fast tilt, then spin fast, then spin. So that gets us 6 cycles, and hopefully that will give us a decent prestige. I'm hoping it's somewhere around 600. I don't want it to be too crazy. We will go ahead and we'll fast forward a little bit so we can take a look at that here in a second. In the meantime, we will jump into our shops. We need to get, where's this? Gifts to go. Looney Balloons. We're going to go ahead and get that open. We are going to add in orange balloons. Not for that much. Yeah, we'll just keep that the same for now. Okay. You know what? Let's just... go ahead and... Oop. I didn't know I could change this. And none of the other special balloons. Maybe they'll come out in the future or something like that. Our vending machine, Chief Beef, no, don't need to worry about that. Vending machine, Gulpy. These, I feel like we can bring these up $1. And we'll just do that. And then there should be a Pip Shot vending machine. Where are we at? Where's the Pip Shot vending machine? Pip Shot, there we go. And this is going to be the same thing. So 3, 3.5, and 4. Vending machine. Why did this just close? Okay. We'll just leave it at side. That's fine. This needs to be changed. Chief Beef. Main. We'll leave it at that. Where's else? Oh, and it's apparently just going to be... we'll have to do it this way. There we go. What other vending machines do we have? Gulpy. So this one's going to be Gulpy side. And there's another vending machine that we have in here. But I don't know where it is. Cosmic. Whoa. That's funny. I can't. It's able to be longer because the game made it longer, but I can't make it longer. So that's fun. All right, so we get that, and then we already did the gift shop. So let's go back to our rides now. We'll take a look at the Blooon Flight, and that does not quite give us as much. So we'll do spin fast and a spin tilt and a spin fast tilt, and we will do a spin fast here. I don't think we need that one. Okay. So we'll keep that going. See if that goes. Everything else here I think is pretty good. We know we're going to lose money there for now. That's going to lose some money. Generally speaking, no. Everything's pretty much making money. I mean, that should be making money. This is probably a little disappointing, but overall, I'm not too upset about that. These we know are all going to be losing money. Small attractions, 350 at 40%. And I have 320 at 50%. So let's update that crane game as well. So hopefully, yeah, so they're starting to make money here, so that's good. The Sleepy Steward, what are people saying? Are too expensive. Okay, so that is good to know. Just bring that down a couple dollars. What other things do we have? The standard rooms are so cheap. So we can just kind of let's do 2. Okay. But it's full. That's interesting. Overall, I think that's doing pretty good. We don't have any restaurants, no Vista points or anything. I'm not gonna do react on this one yet. We'll see if that comes down over time. Security, we have 15 pickpocket guests in park. So yes, so we know this is an issue. So we'll have to do that. All of that's fine. Everything else is looking good. We will have some speakers and whatnot put in at some point. But I think we should be better here now on Blooon Flight. 721, that's fine. We can run with that. So 721, this is a brand new ride. That means if we do our price calculations, which is that prestige rating divided by 35, get 20.6. So we're just going to charge $20. Nice even number. And that should start to make us some money. We can slow. Oh, we don't want to pause it, but we don't want it to be flying here anymore. So there we go. We also got this moving, the baggage carousel, so that's going to start making us some money. Yeah, I think we are looking pretty good here. We just have this pickpocket problem. Are pretty extreme. That's interesting, but you know, I'm not going to worry about it quite yet. So hopefully, yeah, you can see people starting to buy some different color balloons and whatnot. This person. Hercules really costs an arm and a leg. Okay. We'll drop it down a little bit. It did break down, so let's just do 20. Ooh, boy, that is pretty significant. So let's do 17 for now, just to try and get some people to ride it, and we should be good from there. So I think we are going to end it here. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to leave a like. If you saw something I could have done better, let me know in the comment section. And if you want to see some more awesome Planet Coaster content, please subscribe to the channel. So again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later!